has formed the Presidential Food and Agriculture Delivery Council. According to a statement issued earlier today by the Director of Presidential Communications, Zuhura Yunus, the head of state has appointed the former Prime Minister Mizengo Kayanza Pinda to be the chairperson of the council. Furthermore, Dr. Samia has appointed Geoffrey Kirenga, who is the Executive Director of the Southern Agricultural Growth Corridor of Tanzania, SAGCOT, and Andrew Masawe, who is the retired Permanent Secretary, to be members of the council. Similarly, President Samia has appointed Dr. Florence Turuka, retired Permanent Secretary and lecturer of Sokoine University of Agriculture, SUA. Dr. Jacqueline Mkindi, who is the Executive Director of Tanzania Horticulture Association, TAHA, and Dr. Mwatima Juma, Chairperson of Tanzania Organic Agriculture Movement, to be the members of the Secretariat of the Council. The official launch of the Council will be on March 17th, 2023 at the State House in Dar es Salaam.
Majaliwa calls for more concerted efforts to deal with road accidents to save nation's workforce. It was launching the Road Safety Week in Mwanza region, clarifying that statistics show that in the past 3 years, more than 5,132 road accidents have occurred in the country, causing the deaths of 4,060 people and injuring 6,427 people. It's a report by James Lerombo, read by Apasia Ringo.
Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa is in Mwanza region to launch the Road Safety Week, bringing together various stakeholders. Inaugurating the week, Prime Minister Majaliwa clarifies the statistics of road accidents for the past 3 years.
The accidents have costed the lives of 4,060 people and caused the injuries and the disabilities to the 60,427 people. The number of deaths due to the road accidents and the number of injuries due to the misuse of our road is very high. I urge our fellow Tanzanians to reflect.
In addition, he gives special instructions to the police force and the media.
We have seen that there is a period where they provide road safety education. I suggest we go further by using online media, television and radio, so that education reaches all Tanzanians.
The government, in collaboration with other stakeholders, has prepared various strategies, including improving road safety rules and regulations.
The Council promises that it will continue to implement and focus more on combative efforts on the sources of human accidents and ensure that the former road safety regulations are amended.
Since human error is the leading cause of road accidents, the National Road Safety Council is preparing a national strategy to combat road accidents, which is collaborative. This strategy is developed by involving all road safety stakeholders.
NMB is more interested in the slogan because they are big stakeholders in a road safety. I call on drivers to observe the traffic laws, including making sure they have insurance.
This week will be used to remind each other to follow traffic rules and road safety regulations. Follow the advice given here, as it will help reduce accidents and property damage.
Minister of Finance and Planning Dr. Mwigulu Nchemba says the arrival of an international credit ratings agency, Moodys, who are the key players in financial markets, is an opportunity for Tanzania to access funds from international financial markets. He made the remarks while welcoming the team of experts of the company, insisting that Tanzania continues to improve despite the challenges of COVID-19 and the war between Ukraine and Russia, making great strides in economic, diplomatic, human and political areas.
Our country started the process of making an assessment, and those experienced in this matter are working closely. As a country, Ministry of Finance and other sectoral ministries, we have organized ourselves following the instructions of the President since we made a statement in the budget, and that our country will be evaluated, believing that we meet those criteria as we have a stable economy, good governance, and good systems of economic diplomacy.
He adds that the arrival of the experts follows great determination of President Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, who is convinced that the evaluation will ensure the country accesses funds from international financial markets to accelerate the development of the Tanzanians.
Which is important not only for the government to be able to find resources to implement development projects, but the results of this exercise will help the private sector to be reliable. The credibility of the private sector means that it will open the way for capital, but the private sector from abroad will come to invest in Tanzania. The results show that the economy is predictable in terms of legal issues and a better environment for doing business.
Furthermore, there has been a robust increase in demand for credit rating services in Africa as an alternative to traditional funding sources. Now, let's have a look at other stories. The government, in collaboration with key stakeholders, is drafting the structure of the Tanzania Clean Cooking Fund, including a draft of 10 years national vision and implementation strategy on the transition to clean cooking by 2033. Abasia Ringo has more details.
The move seeks to implement a directive given by President Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan that she issued in November last year during the National Clean Cooking Conference held in Dar es Salaam. The revelation was made in Dodoma by Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Energy, Engineer Philchesmi Mramba, when opening a 2-day National Clean Cooking Stakeholders Workshop held here. Speaking at the workshop, Engineer Mramba said that his ministry, in collaboration with other stakeholders, was fully committed to implementing President Samia's directives on the country's commitment to advancing the clean cooking agenda.
Let me also emphasize that the workshop has just come at the right time, when the government is implementing clean cooking agenda, as I said, and as you are all aware, the National Dialogue on Clean Cooking in November was aimed at identifying barriers and challenges, as well as the availability of clean cooking technologies and energies.
Speaking at the stakeholders workshop, the representative of the head of United Nations Capital Development Fund, UNCDF in Tanzania, who is also a senior finance specialist and Cook Fund program manager, Mr. Emmanuel Muro, said that his organization is working closely with the Ministry of Energy to implement the 17 million euro Cook Fund program funded by EU delegation in Tanzania.
Tunawafikia watu mbalimbali wanaohusika. Kwa mfano,
clean cooking energy has been our agenda, and with the collaboration of European Union in Tanzania, we are working together to reach different stakeholders. For example, you can think that problem of clean cooking energy is availability of the energy itself. But how can you get the energy without supplier? But also, you can have supplier, but they face capital problem.
On the other hand, the World Food Programme WFP Country Director and Representative Sarah Gordon Gibson said this year WFP plans to support nearly 500,000 vulnerable Tanzanians as well as Burundian and Congolese refugees through a set of activities.
Recognizing the importance of clean cooking and tailor different initiatives to the Tanzanian context. Honorable Permanent Secretary, on behalf of the World Food Programme, I would like to thank your ministry for the engagement and commitment, and especially for your leadership in this matter and for being with us this morning. I can assure you of the World Food Programme's commitment to supporting the government of Tanzania, and we stand ready to contribute to the Ministry of Energy's 10-year vision and strategy on the transition to clean cooking. Together, let us ensure that Her Excellency President Samia Suluhu Hassan's vision to transition 80% of the population to clean cooking by 2033 is fulfilled and that Tanzania achieves as
The event was hosted by the World Food Programme and the United Nations Capital Development Fund through the EU-funded Cook Fund program in close collaboration with the Ministry of Energy, Tanzania Renewable Energy Association, and Tanzania Association of Clean Cooking Stakeholders, TACCS, and the Office of the Vice President, Division of Environment.
In other news, the Vice Chairman of the Commission for Assessing Criminal Justice System in the country, Ambassador Ombeni Sefue, urges citizens to give their opinions on improving criminal justice delivery in the country. Ambassador Sefue made the remark in Dodoma as the Commission continues to collect opinions on how to improve performance of the criminal justice institution in the country, insisting on all citizens as well as the institutions to express their opinions without fear. Is a report by Edigan Kilambo, read by Lulua Mohammed.
It is the visit of the Vice Chairman of the Commission to investigate performance of criminal justice institutions in the country. This time, it is the turn of the capital city, Dodoma. After visiting various institutions, including Isanga Prison and the Tanzania's Prevention and Combating of Corruption Bureau, the delegation have an opportunity to listen to religious leaders.
Naomba serikali jikite kwenye kupambana na rushwa.
I ask the government to focus on fighting with corruption to avoid its effect in the society.
Watu wengine wamebambikiziwa kesi za mauaji mheshimiwa. Shirika masharti yakawa magumu sana ya mtu kupata.
When the bail conditions in the court are too strict, it can lead to loopholes for corruption.
Ikiwa kama sasa hivi ili mtu apate dhamana lazima aweke nyumba.
Some leaders of the institutions that have been visited by the Commission note how productive the visit has been.
The Criminal Justice Commission has listened to the challenges that the institution is facing, and they have advised us how to strengthen the institution and services for the people we work with, both Tanzanians and non-Tanzanians.
The Vice Chairman of the Commission, Ambassador Ombeni Sefue, stressed that people should be free to express their opinions.
We receive several complaints and suggestions from people, but my request is that the citizens and various stakeholders who continue to meet with us should focus more on proposals that can help the criminal justice system in delivering its services to people.
And here he calls on the public institutions that are involved in justice delivery to collaborate in improving the criminal justice institutions in the country.
In the places we visited, we found good suggestions from people, and through TBC, we encourage citizens, institutions, and various stakeholders when we meet them to continue to cooperate and bring us concrete proposals.
Members of the Commission to Improve Criminal Justice Institutions in the country are continue to visit various institutions as well as collecting opinions from community groups.
Now, let's move on from Dodoma. In other news, the Governance, Constitution and Legal Affairs Parliamentary Committee has called for effective and fair justice system from the judiciary when performing duties. Making the remark after inspecting the renovations of the court buildings in Tabora region, which have cost more than 2.5 billion shillings, the members of the committee assert that the government is spending a lot of money to transform court performance, and that should reflect in justice delivery. Is a report by Dr. Elias, read by Lulua Mohammed.
The interesting view is the result of the government spending more than 2.5 billion shillings. Members of the Governance, Constitution and Legal Affairs Parliamentary Committee are inspecting the progress of the court performance transformation. Speaking after inspection, members of the committee are contented with the implementation of the project, urge the judiciary system in the country to deliver justice when performing duties.
The buildings are beautiful and modern. We also expect on the rights given to the citizen in these buildings.
Let's continue to raise our voices while mentioning the good works that are being done by the court. We would like to congratulate the President for bringing funds and a sincere wish to improve courts' offices.
To improve the services to everyone, a member asks an elevator to be built.
We would like to see the building is equipped with an elevator so that people with disabilities can easily reach all areas without any trouble.
Earlier, giving details on the progress of the project, the Chief Court Administrator, Professor Elisante Ole Gabriel, assures that the implementation of the project has significantly improved the performance of the courts and the justice system.
The contribution of the court to the provision of justice services is so great that the citizens are actually satisfied.
Sad news from the Endless Plains. Bob Jr., the famous lion, died in Serengeti. He was attacked by 3 of the 7 male lions, which is the greatest coalition that has ever been in the lion kingdom. Bob Jr. was popular due to the rare genes of darkest manes that he inherited from a duo of his forefathers, Bob and Ziggy Marley. Here's Margaret Getty with more details.
Kingdom must fall for the rise of others. On March 11th, the king of the Eastern Serengeti took his last breath. It is normal for young male lions to conquer a territory, and to do so, they must fight the existing king to death or chase them away. The death of this king has captured emotions of many fans of Bob Jr., including tour guides and tourists around the globe.
So what is very unique about this male lion was he was genetically very strong. He has won so many battles against the intruders that came in his territory and trying to take over his pride. And so all the males around were very scared of him. So he was the symbol of the strength of the lion. When it comes to the strength of the lion, he was always the example.
He was loved by many. It is believed that Bob Jr. was the most handsome lion in the Serengeti, and for that, he was able to attract more females in his territory. Dula Fardi is a tour guide in the Namiri Plains of the Serengeti and takes us through the footsteps of the great Bob Jr.
Okay, everyone, so in front of us, this is where BJ liked to hang. In other words, you could say this was his preferred sitting room. So for anyone who would come to Serengeti and thinking of wanting to see this magnificent lion, this was the place. So right now where we are, this is the most saddest place when I always drive along here, because this, not very far from here, is where our legend had his last breath.
Also, photographers from around the world have paid their tribute to the late BJ, addressing how beautiful it was to capture his images while he was still alive.
The photographer community, the guy was so photogenic. Whenever you get a chance to photograph him, you always ended with the big smile in the face. I remember the first time I photographed him, wow, the picture which came out was so amazing.
The famous Bob Jr. from the Endless Plains of Serengeti lies from a sleep he will never wake up from. Later on, the same day, a body of his partner Saigiv was found dead, and it is believed that he was murdered by the same killers. A question remains to many of his fans on who will inherit his genes and conquer the Namiri Plains once again. Margaret Getty, TBC.
Sad news indeed. And that item concludes local news. International news up next. Now let's have a look at international news with Ahmed Salum.
President William Ruto of Kenya has announced that construction of the Ara and Kimwera dams in Elgeyo Marakwet County is going to resume. Addressing the journalists at State House, Nairobi, after holding talks with his Italian counterparts, Sergio Mattarella, Ruto said the two countries had reached an agreement to withdraw court cases on the Boshi project. The mega project was cancelled by former President Uhuru Kenyatta in 2019 after investigations unearthed a scandal where billions were paid to an Italian firm for work not done. According to the head of state, financing for the project is going to be restructured and construction will resume in the coming months. In the multi-billion shillings fraud case, former Cabinet Secretary of Treasury Henry Rotich, former KVDA Managing Director David Kimosop, and 7 others are charged with conspiracy to defraud the government of Kenya. The US, UK and Australia have unveiled details of their plan to create a new fleet of nuclear-powered submarines aimed at countering China's influence in the Indo-Pacific region. Under the AUKUS Pact, Australia is to get its first nuclear-powered subs, at least 3 from the US. The Allies will also work to create a new fleet using cutting-edge tech, including UK-made Rolls-Royce reactors. Beijing said the major naval deal has peace and stability. China's UN mission also accused the Western allies of setting back nuclear non-proliferation efforts. But US President Joe Biden said the deal was aimed at bolstering peace in the region and stressed the submarines will be nuclear-powered and not nuclear-armed. The government of Malawi has said at least 190 people are now confirmed dead in Malawi after Tropical Storm Freddy ripped through southern Africa for the second time in a month. Malawi's commercial hub, Blantyre, has recorded most of the deaths, 158, including 36 in a landslide. Rescue workers are overwhelmed and are using shovels to try to find survivors buried in the mud. The government's disaster relief agency said the death toll had risen from 99 on Monday to 190, while about 584 people were injured and 37 were still missing. More than 20,000 people have been displaced. Officials at the main referral hospital in Blantyre say they could not cope with the sheer number of bodies that they were receiving. They have appealed to bereaved families to collect the corpses for burial, and the hospital's mortuary was running out of space. The death toll is expected to rise as some areas remain cut off because of relentless rain and fierce wind. The Malawi government has declared a state of national disaster in the most affected district. It appealed for help locally and globally for the tens of thousands of people who have been left without food and shelter. And clashes have erupted between the Pakistan police and supporters of former Prime Minister Imran Khan ahead of his possible arrest in the eastern city of Lahore. Police fired tear gas and water cannon as hundreds of members and supporters of Khan's Pakistan Party (PTI) gathered outside his Zamak Park residence. A senior officer in the Islamabad police tells reporters police intend to arrest Khan. Khan has posted a video message on Twitter saying his supporters should fight for their rights for real freedom if he is arrested. On Monday, a session court in Islamabad issued an arrest warrant for Khan in the state gift depository case after he repeatedly escaped the hearings. The court directed police to ensure Khan's presence in court by March 18th.
And that was international news prepared to you by Ahmed Salum and read by Ahmed Salum. Now, let's have a look at sports news. Here is sports news with Mario Cheto.
Young Africans assistant coach Cedric Kaze says they know very well the importance of the match against U.S. Moodys from Egypt in CAF Confederation Cup, which will be played at the Benjamin Mkapa on Sunday. Coach Kazi insists that the match is decisive and they want to write a new history of the club by beating their opponent and qualify to quarterfinals of the tournament.
Everyone knows the importance of this match. Up to now in this season, the match of Sunday is the most important match, and everyone knows that. And we believe it will be very good.
Young Africans have 2 games in hand and they need to secure only 3 points to qualify to the quarterfinals, as they have 7 points in second place of the Group D, 3 points behind leaders U.S. Moodys. Most of youth participating in Junior World Tennis Series in Dar es Salaam says the competition is tough because all players from different countries have shown competitive talents on the tennis court. Speaking to TBC News, President's Junior World Tennis Series says the youth have shown high performance in the tournament and hoping that they will reach far in international levels.
And now they are all motivated to play, to give their best for this tournament. And I see also the level of every day, it will be much better because they have more motivation to play in this tournament.
This tournament is going to help me play in different weathers. It's going to help me build mental toughness. And if I manage to qualify for the tournament, I will train even harder and go there and try to perform even better than I performed here.
I hope this tournament will help me improve in my tennis skills and all my physical body fitness.
The ongoing Junior World Tennis Series tournament in Dar es Salaam will end next Sunday, and the main target is to build youth with thorough tennis skills. Malio Cheto, TBC News.
Thank you very much, Malio Cheto. And that marks the end of our news bulletin for tonight. Thank you very much for watching. I am Faida Ngaga. Good night.